Warning, this episode contains strong language or mature themes. Parental discretion is advised.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. All right.
Cool.
Welcome to this podcast is uncalled for.
What's uncalled for about it?
Well, you can't tell anybody this.
I'm listening.
Oh my God, what are you doing? I worship Cthulhu just for the free beer.
Eggs are cheap and so are pancakes.
But you didn't even give a chance for a wild card spot!
What are we doing with Tijuana?
And you're like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
The exact sound in there.
That is uncalled for, Michael.
Well, the name of this podcast is Stuff Uncalled For?
This podcast is uncalled for.
Podcast, all right.
Yeah, that was the most ridiculous ending to that game that I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, I gotta hurry up. Oh my gosh, I gotta hurry up. Oh my gosh, I gotta hurry up.
We're looking at each other in the eye. We're not going to say anything derogatory to the other person. And, of course, neither of us is drunk.
So I don't hear Pope Francis saying that he's a prophet, seer, and revelator.
What planet are these people on?
And good luck. Thank you, back from.
See, this is a disgrace.
How'd that happen, really?
And it's got Chick-fil-A.
Don't think. I don't allow you to think.
Hey, we're getting somewhere.
And now, your host for this podcast, Mike Chernevsky.
Fuji!
In 30 years of police work, I have never, ever had to deal with a situation like this. Warrantless search, interrogation without adequate justification, fighting, destruction of property, and here's the one I love best, dating a potential witness. What the hell were you thinking?
I was working on a hunch, sir.
Oh, you were working on a hunch. That's amazing. You just never fail to impress me. And you, Ashcroft. I'm even more disappointed with you. Weren't you little miss? I graduated at the top of my academy class and I'm all ready to go. And then you go along with this? How could you do that? You disappoint me.
Yes, sir. It won't happen again.
It better not. If it does, you two will be under immediate suspension. I can't make this go away again. Not only will you be under suspension pending an investigation which will probably lead to the end of your illustrious careers, but you'll be subject to criminal and civil liability, which means you could go to jail. That's the criminal part, guys. Remember Academy. And civil, which means they can sue your ass off and you'll be paying the rest of your life.
Yes, sir.
What do you say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, I've got another assignment for you.
So much to win when you are good with nothing to hide. You gotta feel the
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. It is a real treat tonight to be joined by Rick Daniels. Rick is a local actor and a man of a lot of experience. And in terms of Tales from the Interim Net, you'll know him as Captain Trainer. So, Rick, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've worked together a few times before, but most notably with Tales. You being the hard ass but fatherly police captain.
Unless you're a criminal.
Yeah, that is true. Unless you're a criminal, then you get beaten with phone books and threatened with prison sex. So,
Just, you know, I, s- I, I'm a, I describe myself as a by the book police officer who is sometimes subject to occasional lapses. So,
cool. And of course, you're not the first, and you certainly won't be the last Tales actor I've had on the podcast. So, yeah, the honor of the first Tales actor went to Detective Anderson himself, Mr. Ann McKeith, whom I've had on twice now.
we're doing another film here in process, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called The Promise Chronicles Manifestation. It's a sequel to The Promise Chronicles. It just had its premiere a month or so ago.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing about that. Is it local?
Yep, it's local.
All right. Oh, awesome. Who may I ask is doing it?
Craig, I'm the name escapes me, but I'm sure it'll come to me. His last name is Wright, but I can't remember his first name.
All right, fair enough. I will look that up. So, cool. Now you've been at this for quite a while, right? The acting.
Oh yes, it's early '90s.
And would you say that Captain Trainer is typical of the type of characters you play?
Well, I've played several police officers. I've also played a number of doctors. Here recently, I played a kind of a horribly disfigured dwarf, actually, I guess, who was Richie Ramone's sidekick in a movie called Protege Moi, which is a vampire movie. And Richie Ramone is the vampire king, and I'm his little sidekick. So I'm unrecognizable, but that's me. So and in this Promise Chronicles Manifestation, I'm a Secret Service agent. So yeah, it's another cop. I'm at my age, I'm always playing the cops that are nearing retirement.
Yeah.
And then I did another one. I was a security guard, so nearing retirement.
Yep, I know all about the security guard thing because I did it in real life.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bet there's a wealth of other experience that you have that informs your characters and everything.
Oh yes, yeah. I've done a few things.
I seem to recall this was about the time we were doing Tales. Our friend, the late Dave Barry, did his take on the Casca of Amontillado. Yeah, did that at that in that office building, and I think you were one of the extras.
Right.
Oh, that was fun shoots. I of course had Trevor, who on the podcast as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that starred trying to think.
Jeffrey Staub was in it, and
yes, Jeff Staub.
Jeff Staub
just did one with him too.
Yeah. My first exposure to Jeff, he did a little thing called Smoke Break.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you in that, or were you?
I was there for a little bit. I was there for a little bit. Kendall had me shoot some behind the scenes stuff for him, and I hope he got a chance to use it. So it was a fun set to be on.
Yeah, we did that little music video too a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, right?
Music video. Remind me.
It was a local guy. Actually, he was a soldier from Fort Leavenworth, and we shot it in Leavenworth.
Jeffrey, yeah, Jeffrey Johnson.
Shot it like that or something, and I was a mafioso.
Yeah,
that was
we did that. We did that up in Leavenworth, yeah. So
that disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. It was on the internet for a while, and then it was gone. I kind of liked it.
Yeah. So Jeffrey, if you are seeing the video or listening on the podcast, well, A, I'd like to have you on the podcast if you.
Shout out to you, Jeffrey.
Yeah. And B, what the heck happened with that music video, man? Yeah. That was, and I was actually paid for that. So, yeah. And as I paid for that, his buddy provided my rides to and from. So
that was mighty kind of him.
Yeah, because at that time I was having bad enough car problems. I didn't feel comfortable driving from my house in North OP up to Leavenworth. So. Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. That was. Yeah,
one thing about that.
Yeah, that was
independent film in Kansas City. You see people over and over because it's kind of a core group, or 3 or 4 core groups. You'll cross paths a number of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. That's true. We've gone over on this podcast. We've gone over all those groups. We got the IFC in one corner. We got the Video Corps. We've got Women in Film, the Screenwriters Group, and so on and so forth. I know KU has their little film group, and
isn't that Old Father Film?
Old Father Studios, yeah.
Yeah. I did a couple for them back in the day.
Cool. So what got you into wanting to be an actor in the first place?
Well, I kind of always was kind of a dramatic type person. Back in the day, I really wanted to be a Vegematics salesman, or something. The pitchmen at the county fairs and stuff, where they sell the knives and everything. When we used to go to the fair when I was a little kid, everybody else wanted to go to the rides, not me. I was fascinated. I could sit there and watch those guys do the knife and the cookware demonstrations over and over again. Not just for the free samples they give out, but I'd sit there and practice that in my bedroom. Gee, when I was about when was it? Oh, when I was in my early 50s. Yeah, I am really that old. Because I can remember a long time ago when I was in my early 50s, I became a seminar leader. And I went out on my first seminar on the national circuit. They sent me up to South Dakota or something. I came back and told my sister, I said, man, even though it was just my first one, I was kind of nervous. It was like I'd been doing it all my life. And she said, you have been doing it all your life. Don't you remember when you were a little kid, the way you would play and you'd be in your bedroom selling Vegematics at age 9? I said, oh yeah, I guess that's true. So yeah, and that turned out to be the best career I ever had. I loved that business. But actually, I got into I wrestled in high school, so I never could be in the spring play because that was wrestling season. So in 1993, I saw a thing where a local horror meister, Todd Sheets, was he used to recruit people. He'd have a big meeting and recruit people, and I had to work that night. And so I got off. I saw my last client. I was a psychologist at the time. Saw my last client, hustled over there as everybody was walking out. And Todd had a clipboard or something, so I recognized that he was probably the guy in charge. I said, "Man, I missed it." He said, "Yeah, man, you did really." But he says, "I'll tell you what, everybody wants to be in this thing, but nobody wants to help me with it. And if you will be on one of my crews, we're going to shoot all summer. If you'll be on one of the crews, I guarantee you that you will be somewhere in that movie. You be an extra or something probably, but you'll be in it." But so I worked on the lighting crew all summer. And I was also, I originated the title Zombie Wrangler. And that's a production assistant that actually keeps tabs on the zombie extras. And I went up to Todd, I said, "Todd, in movies they have like rat wranglers for Willard and they have wranglers for the horses. We should have a zombie wrangler. I want to be a zombie wrangler." He says, "Okay." And by the way, that definition is a formal definition now, is in the Urban Dictionary, courtesy of yours truly.
All right.
And so I was credited in the movie as Sergeant Romero, because I actually didn't get in the movie just as an extra. I'm in the prologue. I have one line. I get hit with atomic dust or something, and I melt down on screen. I'm the first guy to melt down in the movie. And you can still see that on the internet. It's still there. And that got me started. And I did another one that year. And then, a bunch of things happened. But then I actually kind of retired officially in 2010. And that's when I really started in some earnest. And I've been in, I've been a few commercials, and we did our captain trainer thing, which by the way, that Tales from the Interim Net should have some kind of a record or trophy or something for the most footage shot and retained in the shortest amount of time. I mean, that to me, that was amazing feat by an amazing feat by everybody involved. How much did we shoot in like 3 days? We had the whole series. We had how many episodes? Like
9
10,
finished
12-minute episodes.
So 9 episodes finished in the can online that you can see right now, and then parts of a few more that's never got finished, unfortunately. But I still have all that stuff.
But I mean, to me, that's amazing, and because I've actually worked on commercials. We 2 30-second spots, and it took us 14 hours. And I was principal in that, and it took us a long day, and we ended up with 2. Well, actually, it was the same commercial. They shot 2 versions, one internet version and a television version, but they were 30 seconds. And it took 14 hours. In that same 12 to 14 hours, whatever it was, you would have made 3 episodes, 3 5 or 10-minute episodes, I think, at least.
That sounds pretty accurate. Yes, 8 hours that first day, and then we came back to the studio for another 4 hours.
Yeah, so 12 hours for how many episodes?
Just in that studio, and I'm sorry to hear that the studio closed down.
Yeah.
What
was it called?
No budget studio.
Yeah, no budget studios. It was really quite a nice facility for what it was, and they just didn't have enough business to keep them open.
Yeah,
but it was a great concept, I thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we got to shoot there, so that was cool.
Yeah,
and the one thing I really love about Tales from the Internet is the intro with the music and the speeded up traffic scenes, and that looks so. It really looks sharp. I mean, it looks glossy. I guess. Yeah. Hats off to you, buddy.
Yeah, it's just finding the right clip arts to use the clip scenes to use.
Well, I mean, it looks great. I mean, I like to watch it for the intro. I thought, boy, that's cool. I was in that.
Yeah. He's in it, and his name's in the intro with the
names in the intro, but I mean the intro. And the music. That what was that? Kyoto Connection was
the Kyoto Connection. That's the name of the group. Yeah.
Who are they? Are they a real group?
They are a real group. They're out of Argentina. And,
really?
And
well, how did you ever find them? And that's royalty free, or did you have to pay?
Creative Commons.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
but I like I say, the music sounds so cool. It's kind of quasi futuristic to me, and the color and it's so kinetic, and I don't know. I saw that and I said, man, Mike's got a winner with that.
I appreciate that.
And it was a fun. I mean, it was exhausting, but it was a fun couple of days.
Yeah.
I was sorry some of the shooting didn't come out. I had that one episode where I was dressing down my two chief detectives. I wish we'd had two cameras though, because it just shot me from the back of my head, and we're seeing there.
Is the one shot? Yeah, is the one shot from the back of your head, and just slowly pan into Adam and Ellen. And
just looking thoroughly chastened, which they were. I mean, those kids, by golly. Hey, Ellen said, God, I felt like I was talking to my dad, which is exactly, it was exactly what it was supposed to be, you know? I mean,
yeah.
Because like they were my kids, they were my prize kids, and they disappointed me. And you're not supposed to do that with Captain Trainer. I mean, that was a fun scene. And what was so much, what I like about working with you is you kind of give us the basics and then say, go with it. And that's when I do some of my best work.
Sure.
You know, that jail scene, that was pretty much, we had
100% improv. Yeah.
And we did it didn't we do that in one take?
Yeah, we did. That was one take.
Yeah, one take, stationary camera, as far as I remember, and just go. And it came out, I think, pretty darn good.
And a little cutting here and there to emphasize, Chris is being hit with the book, and that was good. And really the scene, although we could have had some different shots where I was dressing down my two top detectives there, that was pretty much improv too. I mean, I kind of knew what I wanted to say. It was. And I will talk a little bit about that particular episode that you're talking about, the episode Beta, which is one of the ones that did get finished. Jamal Ross, he's the one that actually wrote that episode, and I had to really clean it up because in his version he had long chase scenes and shooting going on. Like, this is supposed to be the future, and you know that they wouldn't be shooting themselves with guns in the sense that we have right now. They'd be using like pulse pistols and stuff like that. But chase scenes are expensive. But my favorite thing to correct was the girl Aikari Takahashi. In Jamal's original draft, I kid you not, that character was named Akira Chen.
So what is that? Well, that's Chinese though, right?
Yeah, Chen is a Chinese name. It's supposed to be a Japanese character.
Yeah, okay.
So I changed it to Takahashi, and Akira is traditionally a male name.
Okay. Well, other than that,
I changed it to Aikori, which sounds similar and sounds more feminine. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but most people wouldn't have caught that. But well, the Chin they would have probably caught, but the other one,
Yeah. Again, this is studying Japanese for 2 years in college.
Yeah,
Coming up,
doesn't hurt. What made you decide? Oh, because of the martial arts.
Yep. So for our audience, I did study karate, kempo in high school, and then Bushido-kan under Roy Porter in college.
Did you do kempo around here?
Yes, I did.
Did you do that over at Traco International?
Is AKKA.
Yeah, it's AKKA now. I think it was just under Mr. God, what was his name? He taught everything. He taught boxing.
Cooper.
He taught kempo. What was his
Cooper
name?
Cooper, I think was his name.
There was another guy.
There's another guy, Woolridge. Mr. Woolridge.
This guy was kind of a little, not very big guy, kind of droopy, but he was incredible. I mean, he didn't look like he was in very good shape at all, but I guess he's in incredible shape because I took this self-defense course from him, and they were taking on guy after guy and seemed to be fine. And we'd go at it for like 30 seconds. We were exhausted, and he wish I could remember his name. He brought in Bill Jarhead Kip, who used to teach Filipino fighting arts, and then they had this model mugging they taught, and the men's seminar is what I took. So, yeah, I cannot remember the guy's name, but I think he owned it or something. That's AKKA.
Yeah.
But anyway, I knew they did a lot of kempo there. That was Ed Parker's thing, right?
I went to the location. It was originally in Lenexa, but then they moved over next to the main library here on 87th. So.
Okay. Oh, I was thinking the one down on Broadway.
Okay, yeah, the one on Broadway I think is still open. I never studied at that one though. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but kempo, the main guy for American kempo was it American kempo or traditional kempo?
It was American. That's AKK, American Kempo Karate Association.
Okay, so that's Ed Parker's then, right?
Probably.
Yeah, Ed Parker was on the West Coast, and back in the late 50s, early 60s, I guess. And he'd run around with Bruce Tegner and, kind of a nemesis, or I guess Bruce Lee was the nemesis of all of them, because I think that was one of the places that Bruce Lee, I think it's in his movie, showed up at one of Ed Parker's tournaments, and he said, I can whip any of your guys, and he did.
Yeah. And when I had Adam on, he talked about Bruce Lee, and I reminded, he did creates the Jeet Kune Do style.
Yeah. I thought that was great. In what was that one with? It was that movie, new movie with Brad Pitt. Oh gosh, Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Have you seen that?
I have not. Again, I'm not a fan of Tarantino. So.
Oh, well, I'm not a fan of Tarantino either at all, but this movie I thought was great. So you might want to take a look at that. I guess we shouldn't be advertising for Quentin. He does fine on his own, but I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Right. Pop culture junkie with too much time on his hands.
A what?
Tarantino, a pop culture junkie with way too much time on his hands. Yeah.
Well, he must be doing something right. Like I said, that's the only movie I ever saw of his that I really liked. But
I had the unfortunate experience of seeing Pulp Fiction.
Oh, okay. I didn't like it very much.
Did not like it at all. So.
Didn't like it very much. No. But we're in the minority, I guess.
Yeah, clearly so. So yeah, I've had I'm on twice. I should get Ellen on this podcast now that I think about it. So I know she's out now.
Yeah, well, yeah, because even though she's out there in Hollywood now, she can do it on this, thanks to the internet.
That's true.
Yeah. I guess she works for some studio now. She went out there, I think, to be an actress, but I think she's mainly behind the scenes. I think she's like a production coordinator or something now.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
With a smaller studio, but I can't remember the name of it. But
so yes, Miss Ellen Calverts, I will be contacting you very soon about being on the podcast. So
I was sorry she moved.
Get that police trifecta going on.
Yeah.
You and Adam. Yeah.
And then the new detective, I forgot who he was. I was only in one episode for just a little bit with him.
Yeah,
Can't remember his name.
that was Jeremy, I think. And
Jeremy.
Yeah, I've totally lost contact with him. So, and, but I am still Facebook friends with our baddie, Mr. Chris Fiedler. So, Chris.
Oh yeah.
Chris, I need to get you on the podcast too, buddy.
Kind of
yeah.
Around the World Odyssey or something, didn't he? I mean,
he's traveling, man. That's a function of his day job. Yeah.
Well, I think he quit his day job, didn't he? I thought that he left his day job and he just said, "I'm a free spirit. I'm off to see the world." Now, I could be wrong about that.
Well, considering his day job was in banking. So.
Yeah. I thought he worked for the federal government.
No, he works as he was working as a banker who
really?
Who dabbled in improv and stuff. So he's in the local improv troupe.
Oh, okay. I thought he was gone. I thought he headed out for foreign lands, actually.
Again, I'm Facebook friends with him. I do see he's doing a lot of traveling. Yes, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Either way, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, any advice to any actors who might be seeing this?
Say again?
Do you have any advice for any actors or anyone who wants to get into acting who might be seeing this?
Well, just don't hesitate to throw your hat in the ring to any ring that appeals to you, because you never can tell. I had one. I didn't realize how, quote, big. For me, it was big. I thought it was some student film.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw it and they said something about paid. Now, that got my attention because, as you know, most of the stuff we do, at least I do, historically has been for free. Not so much anymore, but it used to all be free. And it said, I think it said paid. Now I know that usually with a student film, paid means they give you, you're lucky if you get gas money,
right?
But I thought, well, it's paid, sounds like fun. And so anyway, I just, they wanted a video audition. Well, I sent them a resume, and then they sent me the script and said, send us a video audition. And I didn't, I didn't just like glance at it and then do it, but I actually did 3 tapes, and I picked the best one and I said, that's it, sent it off. Well, I guess, geez. And then I forgot about it because I thought it was some student film. About 6 weeks later, I get a call back. And the guy says, hi, I'm the production coordinator. I forgot who he was. But he says, okay, I auditioned for the lead. He says, we think, rather than the lead, we think you'd be really good with this other character he's not the lead, but he's a supporting character. And would you be interested? I said, sure. So he said, okay, well then we're going to do it. And I can offer you this much, which surprised me. It turned out it was not a student film at all. I either didn't read carefully enough or I misread it. It's actually a project that is endorsed by the National Endowment for the Humanities. It's through the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. It's a live action animation thing. And we were going to go up to Lincoln, and they were going to pay for my transportation, my hotel, give me a pretty good daily rate, and whoop-de-doo. And then the pandemic hit. Turned out what we did, and I think they could only probably do this because it's live action animation. They actually sent us a tripod, and they ended up sending me, they said, just do it on your phone. Well, my phone wouldn't take enough footage or whatever. Anyway, they sent me a phone, and they said, put it on your tripod, and they sent me stage directions, and they said, just do your part, just like, you're, because I play the part of a lawyer, and I don't really have conversations with anybody. I'm addressing the jury. So I did it, and I got some beautiful rotoscope illustrations that look, I mean, they really legit. Like I say, this turned out to be a big deal, and I'm confident. Can I say the name of it?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called The Bell Affair, and it's based upon a true life incident, actually a series of incidents that culminated in a huge slave rebellion. And I play the lawyer who's actually representing, I guess, Daniel Bell, who's the father, who had been issued a certificate of manumission to go into effect, which would free him for life, and his family too, which would free him and his family upon the death of the slave owner. And what happened was, and this is a historical incident, the wife of the guy, the widow, says, this is all I've got. And so she fought it in court. And so I'm the guy representing the Daniel Bell and his family, and making passioned pleas to the court in representation of this family, and it's only fair because look at this, because, and whoever wrote it, I sent them a thank you note. I just, man, I can't. Well, it's the director, it's also the author, Quaquatil, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right. Dreyer is her name. She's a college professor up in Lincoln, Nebraska, University of Nebraska at Lincoln, along with one or two other people are co-authors of this. And it's real historical, and like I say, it's going to be live action animated, where they start out with the actually the video of the actual person, and then they morph it into rotoscope illustrations that look like these. It's kind of a cross between modern animation and old woodcuts, is what it looks like. They give it a really unique look, and I'm confident that will be on PBS someday. I really am. That's going to be an award winner, I think. Great story, unique process, I think, fairly unique, plus incredibly adverse conditions. I mean, like I said, everybody filmed their own parts at home, and they sent them in, and now through the genius of editing, I have gained such respect for editors. I really have. They're going to turn this into a film.
Awesome.
So
yeah,
editors are cool. They're geniuses. I mean, they make the movies, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
They can make them.
We try.
Anybody good.
We try.
Oh man.
Yeah.
My editors and police dispatchers are two sets of unsung artists, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they both amaze me. Both occupations amaze me. But anyway, so yeah. So the point of all that was, in promoting the film, is, for some reason they decided on me from a national casting call, and I got it. So, and that's the best part and the best paid part in a film I ever had. Now, I made more in commercials. Oh, well, there was another one that I didn't think, man, this was so great. This is a national thing. It's still on. And I never had an audition where the casting person came to my house to talk to me.
Wow.
This really happened. And she said, okay, looks good. And she came out from, and it was just me. They were casting real people. And they actually came to Kansas City, talked to a bunch of people, chose a person came out from Los Angeles, and then the team who shot it came up from Austin, Texas, and they came to my house 2 weeks later. And then they wanted me to go to St. Louis, and I didn't want to drive to St. Louis. They said, how about if we hire somebody to drive you? I said, no, I don't want to. They said, we want to work with you. We'll work it out. And they ended up in Parkville, Missouri, where they shot, so. And you never know. You never know. I've walked out of auditions thinking, man, I knocked their socks off. Never heard from them again. And I walked out of auditions, man, what a waste of my time. And theirs too. God, I was terrible. And I get the call an hour later, say, man, you were fantastic. You're exactly who we want. So you never, ever know. Also, guys, this took a long time for me to appreciate this. You can have a wholly successful audition and not get the part. In fact, you can do the best audition they saw that day and you won't get the part because you don't have the look that fits their vision for the character for whom you're auditioning. So, I mean, I had an audition for a local film, and I did my thing, and there were like 8 people in the room, and they all said, man, that was fantastic. That was great. That was marvelous. I was actually scared, man, because I was playing a sociopathic character. And one guy, says, I was actually scared. And then an hour later, they said, you had a great audition. Sorry, we can't offer you the part. So, like I said, man, you never know. You never know. And don't get discouraged. I was told by Heather Laird a long time ago, and my old agent, they both said, Dan, it's a numbers game. Just and also be prepared. Are you there? You're not moving. Now you're moving.
I'm here.
Stuff will happen. Do not be discouraged. I got chosen to be a featured extra in a Super Bowl commercial. A Super Bowl commercial several years ago. 2 days before the shoot, my agent calls me up and says, they rewrote it. I said, I'm out, right? She said, well, you can still be an extra. So I went from being, featured in this film. Now, a featured extra, you're not going to say anything, but they're going to have a close up on you with a reaction shot or something.
Right.
And suddenly, then I was a faceless person in the crowd.
Well,
it's the way it goes. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
I had another one. I showed up. I was obviously miscast. Didn't get to be in it all. I'm still waiting for my check, but they said, we'll pay you anyway for, the time you were here, but we can't use you.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't so bad, but the Super Bowl commercial, that was a disappointment, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But just hang in there and keep doing it. And sooner or later, you throw it at the wall enough times, it's going to stick for a while, sooner or later.
Sure. And I can say from my experience, it's true on the other side of the camera too. If you really like doing it, you'll find a way.
Yeah. And what was the other thing I was going to say? If you find fame and fortune, that's great, but don't go into it for that reason, because that I will guarantee you, I can go through this town and find at least 10 actors who are as good as the best actors in Hollywood. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And I don't know what makes the difference. And I really believe there's something there's connections, there's talent, and there's also something called luck. There really is. I absolutely believe it. And it's the same with musicians. The best guitar player I ever heard in my life a local little blues festival, and I mean, he was all over the place. And he says, and if you need auto parts, come see me. He worked in an auto parts store. And I thought, no, he's fantastic. And at a skill level, I think he could probably cut heads with anybody in Aerosmith or anything else. And here he is working in an auto parts store. So what I'm saying is do it because you love it. And if you can somehow make some money at it, that's fine. And if you can actually make a living at it, you're going to be rare. I mean, I'm telling you right now, there are a whole lot of people serving coffee who have degrees in theater and everything else. So, and even Juilliard, which you have to be incredibly talented just to get into. I forgot what the percentage is, but a high percentage of the people who graduate from Juilliard with degrees in music performance and everything else never use it. They're selling insurance, they're stock, they're doing all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So do it because you love it. And like I say, if the money comes and the fame comes, that's great, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. I will actually second what you just said there. If you love doing it, go do it. If you can make money off it, that's great. Don't go into it expecting to make a lot of money. So
you have a much greater chance of making a living or even getting rich as an accountant, as a plumber, as an attorney, as a pipe fitter in a good union, seriously, than anything. I forgot. I don't know. Do you know the percentage of people in the Screen Actors Guild who make more than like $10,000 a year as actors? Very low percentage.
Very tiny.
Very low.
Very tiny. Yeah.
Yeah. Minuscule, single digits who make more than like 10,000 a year as actors. And these are people who pay their, God, I don't know what it costs to get in the Screen Actors Guild now, like $2,500. It was $1,000 or $1,500 like 12 years ago.
Right.
And so they pay that. I think in most markets, like Kansas City, I think, and this is just me.
Yeah.
Don't sue me, Actors Guild, but I think that's more of a status thing. People to say, I'm SAG, man. Okay. Yeah. When was the last SAG project in Kansas City? What's the last SAG project you were in Kansas City? Right. Well, yeah, but so you get jobs out of town. Tell me, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying because I've been qualified to be a SAG member since 2005. And I asked my agent at the time, said, well, it sounds cool, but she said, if you're going to stay in Kansas City, there's just not that much SAG. So,
yeah, I will go ahead and double down on that because I tried to make a project, a SAG project, just so I could work with a SAG actor. I'm not going to name names. And the paperwork that you have to fill out for that is,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's enough to make my head explode. Yeah.
And as a SAG actor, I think you're kind of limited now. You can be in independent films, but there's all kinds of conditions which must be met to work outside the union.
Right.
So, like I say, if you're going to stay in Kansas City,
yeah,
and more movies are being made as independents that actually get some viewing in different formats. I think now is a lot better time to be an independent filmmaker than it was like in, say, 1980. Because in 1980, you still had to shoot on film, or 1975 or something. You still had to shoot on film. You had to go get it developed to even see what you'd shot. Video, you can shoot it. You can play it back. And then if you need to do it over, you do it over. You don't discover like a day later. And that's even with the major studios. They didn't know until a day later that something hadn't gone right. Yeah. And that's at the optimal. Now, I don't know how much it'd cost, even if you bought all your own basic equipment to make a quasi presentable movie, it wouldn't cost all that much. I mean,
right.
I mean, it costs a lot to me out of my pocket, but compared to what it costs for movies and historically costs for movies, it's cheaper now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can make things that look pretty darn good
Mm-hmm.
with minimal equipment. I've seen stuff shot on phones, whole little movies that look pretty good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah.
So it's a great time, and there's so many film festivals and stuff around. You can probably, and with festivals, man, I know people, they'll get rejected here, rejected there, then they finally get into one, and and it's so funny with the film festivals too, because you can be rejected for one and then be accepted in another and actually win an award.
Absolutely.
And the funny thing about that is, because I've seen some films in film festivals that didn't seem to be nearly as good as the ones that I've been in that were rejected. And the reason for that is, it's not just bias, it's that you might have 10 different people or more screening movies for a particular festival. And you just pick the person, your film ends up in front of the person who doesn't like that kind of film or doesn't like the looks of somebody in them or anything, so it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
But keep throwing those dice is all I can say. Who was it who said, some big basketball player said, you are 100% certain of missing every shot you don't take. So I think that's worth keeping in mind. And the risks, unless you're auditioning for some kind of an organized crime shoot or something that's really run by organized crime, there's very little risk. I mean, so what if you audition and they say, and usually they're very kind. I mean, once in a while you'd run into a jerk, but generally, even if you're awful, they'll be nice. They'll say, thank you very much. I mean, so once you understand that rejection, I mean, I was prepared for rejection as an actor from my dating history. That was true. When I was dating, I mean, I got so many rejections. So now this is nothing. There is no risk. I don't care. You just go in and do it. And I think that's one of the reasons that I won't say I don't get nervous sometimes, but a number of people I've auditioned for said, man, you just came in and did it, man. It's like, you just did it. And those are usually the ones I get. And that's because I know I'm not risking anything. I mean, I like auditions because I have the opportunity. I have somebody's undivided attention. I get to perform. And you sometimes can learn something from them. Even, I mean, they generally don't give you any feedback that's going to help you, but because that's not their job at the audition. They have to decide whether or not you're right for their project. That's all they're supposed to do. But when you think it over, you can rethink you could have done differently and so forth. I mean, so it's a learning experience. It's a fun opportunity to show people what you got. So like I say, folks, when you go in there and you feel so nervous, well, good actors get nervous. I mean, they say Red Skelton used to throw up before every performance. But when you understand, I mean, it's not like you're trying to walk across, between two skyscrapers on a tightrope.
Right.
You trip and fall. That's it. You get up. You're not going to fall off the tightrope. So anyway, that's just me. That's.
Yep. And it's interesting you bring dating into this because I had I've had nothing but bad luck in terms of dating, and of course you commented on the most recent dating.
Yeah.
Ladies, if you're listening to this, $85 for a head for a first date dinner, too much. Way too much.
Like I said, I mean, if she, I really, I question her sincerity and say, I'll pay. I looked that place up. I don't even see how they can stay open. I mean, are there that many people in Kansas City who are willing? I mean, that was for one person. So you're talking about $160 and
minimum, yeah.
Yeah,
That doesn't
minimum.
include taxes or drinks or anything.
Steps, yeah. And I can still go to a Chinese buffet for about $14 and
actually
chow down for all, and an Indian buffet, two of my favorite types of buffets.
Mhm.
Or when they open my Golden Corral again, I'll go at lunchtime and get the old folks special for about $9, and I'm in hog heaven, literally. That's why I keep
Golden
away.
Corral's a great place to.
I
to
love
have
the Golden
absolutely.
Corral. I love, and shout out to the Golden Corral for Veterans Day. They do the real live Veterans Day thing where they say, last year what they did, because they, the COVID and everything, they had the social distancing. They gave us a little, it looked like a little credit card and said, this is good up until May the whatever. I was down in Branson and used it at the Golden Corral in Branson, which was delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It costs a little bit more than the ones up here because it's a resort area.
Right.
And it was just as good. It was absolutely scrumptious. I love the Golden. You know what I love? I love their pot roast.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's
It's
good.
like grandma's pot roast.
That is good.
You want to hear a 10-minute pot roast recipe? I am serious.
Sure.
You go. I go to Dollar General, but you can probably get it. You buy yourself for like $3.99 a 12-ounce can of roast beef with gravy. Okay. Then you get yourself a microwave safe plate. You cut up your carrots, your potatoes, and your onions. You cook them for about 5 minutes until they're pretty much done. You dump your can, open up your can of canned roast beef and throw it on there, put it in there for another couple of minutes, and you've got almost as good as pot roast you did in a pot for 3 to 4 hours. I'm serious. It's delicious.
That's awesome.
I also put in some sliced fresh mushrooms in the last few minutes, and it's great. You can also make a good egg McMuffin clone in the microwave. Takes you about. You can cook eggs in the microwave. Just make sure they're covered. But you crack an egg on a microwave safe plate for about a minute, depending, and you've got a perfectly cooked egg. You don't even have to turn on the stove. It'll take you 5 minutes to heat up your pan on the stove. Here, 1 minute, you've got an egg. It's just a little bit of enrichment for our little movie podcast.
Yeah. Well, it's not just movies; it's life in general, and
I love recipes and I love movies.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Rachel Ray's people called me one day. Somebody from the Rachel Ray show called me and she said, "Hey, can you come tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah, I guess they had a cancellation." I said, "Yeah." And said, "Okay, well, be down at," I said, "I live in Kansas City, don't you?" She said, "Oh, we thought you lived in New York." Said, "No." And I don't know. I just submitted a thing. I said, "Yeah, I have several recipes I'd like to share." And I've still got the number. And she says, "I work for the Rachel Ray show." And she was like a production assistant. She says,
"Right.
Yeah." And I'm thinking, man, can I get on a plane and get out there or I don't know about flights and everything. And she said, "You don't live in New York?" I said, "No." She said, "Oh, well, we'll have to do this another time." But it was kind of exciting. Rachel Ray's people called. So what the heck? That was probably as close to real fame as I'll ever get.
Yeah. That is pretty cool.
Anyway.
Cool. But yeah, ladies, coffee is perfectly acceptable for a first date,
Yeah. I mean, I want to see if I want to even know them, I mean, and anybody who insists on, well, no, if you're going to get my time, you're going to get, I'm going to go out to eat. I say, you're getting my time. Maybe you should take me out to eat. They don't like to hear that. They really don't like to hear that. But yeah, I'm done with all that. I'm old. I don't care. Yeah, that's that. I'm sorry that happened to you, Mike, but I can guarantee it happens
It's
to all
been,
of us.
I've had worse, I had worse. I was a victim of a Russian scam once, so.
What was that?
Yeah, that was back in my security days, and I thought she was local at first, but yeah, I got scammed. I fell for one of those Russian sweetheart scams.
Oh my God! Did you send her money?
$2,000.
Say
$2,000,
again?
and they did get caught and tried in Russian courts, and yeah,
I'm glad. Did they get your money back?
I never saw my money back, but I know
That's a shame.
our government. Our
Is that
government
to bring her over or something, or bring over her poor mother?
Yeah, that's like, oh, could you bring me by so I can fly over and all that good stuff? So, yeah.
Oh man, and that's your security days, so you weren't exactly cleaning up on the money anyway, were you? Gee.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, you want to hear if it'll make you feel any better, you want to hear how I got scammed? I got a call. I was actually at the New Theater Restaurant. I was watching this play. I was watching $1 Million Quartet, which is one of my favorites. I've seen it 3 or 4 times. I'll see it again. Anyway, it's like at about intermission, I get this call. It says, "We're going to shut your gas off." I said, "What?" Said, "Yeah, this is Evergy." I said, "I thought that was electricity." He said, "Well, it's gas and electric." And I said, "Well, I pay my bills." He said, "Well, it could be a mistake. If it turns out, but we've got the guy. He's going out in an hour, and blah blah blah." Now it sounded fishy to me. But so what I did was, I looked up. I got on what I thought was Evergy's website, called what I thought was their number, and I verified it. I said, "Look, I just got a call that said," he said, "Yeah, we've got you. What's your name? Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're about to shut that off." And the other thing that like I said, it sounded like a scam, but here I am. I think I'm calling Evergy's number because I got it. I hung up on them and got on another site, Evergy site, and they said, "Yeah, we're going to shut it off. It might be a mistake, but we'll turn it back on if it." And see, I had my sister had died, and so had taken over the utilities for her house,
Right.
and I had them shut off. But I thought maybe the order hadn't gone through or something, and maybe that because they were in my name, and but I thought I had them shut off, but maybe somehow they hadn't gotten shut off, so the utility bill kept going up, and that's what they were talking about. And so I had 2 things that made it seem possibly legitimate. And yeah, I lost $500 because I even went out and bought the gift card, like they said, and it said on there, "Don't use this to pay utility bills." I thought, well, this must be a special because apparently the company that sells the gift card, they don't want you getting scammed.
Yeah.
And it said, "Don't use this to pay utility bills," and I did. So it happens to the best of us because we're 2 of the best. And it happened to both of us.
Yeah. That's another thing to look out for, folks, is if they start asking for gift cards.
Yeah.
Back away.
Here's something else. It's a secondary scam. You get scammed, right? And then somebody will call you and say, "Well, this is a such and such bureau. We understand, especially if you've made a complaint. We've understand, you're on our list. We're recovering some of this money. We think we can get most of it back for you, but somehow it ends up an advance fee scam to somehow pay some administrative fee to get the money back, and it's just the same people scamming you a second time. Oh, one thing. Oh, actors and actresses. Let me tell you about another thing that came through Kansas City here recently. This was a variation of the advance fee scam. Here's how it worked. it was a quote casting call. They say, we need all types of people. You don't have to have modeling experience. We represent a clothing manufacturer who's bringing out a new line, and it's for regular people. It's not necessarily for models. And so send us just a photograph. It doesn't have to be a professional headshot, yada, yada, yada. And then they send you a thing back that says, we are pleased to announce that we are interested in working with you. We are going to send you when you do the job, it'll be at a rented location here in Kansas City in about 2 weeks. And the way we're going to do this is we are going to send you advance money. Now, this is unheard of in the acting industry, that they pay you in advance for, unless maybe you're Brad Pitt or something. They aren't going to pay. They say, we're going to send you a check for $1,850. Now, the $450 of it will be for your wardrobe. So we need you to deposit this check and then send $450 for this wardrobe. And then after we shoot, we will pay you the remainder of your fee, which will come to a total of $4,500. Well, now, if I was a professional model, a pretty one, yeah, that might be reasonable, but not for somebody you've never heard of. For that kind of thing, where they're using unknowns, they're going to give you $100 or maybe let you keep the clothing. This is, and I thought, they're sending me money in advance. And what happens then is it takes a while for these types of checks to be determined to be bogus. It's going to take a couple of days. So you deposit the check, then you write them a check on your account for $450, which is probably good because you probably have $450 in there before you put the $1,850 in. Well, when that check turns out to be bogus, you have the bad check charge. You're on the hook for that $450. The $1,850, there's no shoot, there's no nothing, and it's like a variant, I call it, of the advanced fee scheme. And I did not fall for it when I just send them, when they sent me this stuff about, well, we're going to send you the check. And I wrote them back and said, I have never heard, I've been in this business a while, and I've never heard of anybody being paid in advance for anything. Usually, even with a legit organization, you're waiting 90 days to 120 days to get your money, even when they intend to pay you. So, I said, this is, but I knew another woman who I'm now Facebook friends. She was all excited. She hadn't done a lot. She said, oh my God, I just got this great offer and great money. And then she saw what I posted and she thanked me. She said, thank you so much. And we're Facebook. And we're actually, it turns out we're in another film. We're in that, I think that Promise Chronicles Manifestation film together, or another one I'm in, where she's in that too. So, but anyway, like I say, just be careful of that. That adage, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is usually true. However, like I said, I actually had some that one I told you about where they came to my house and I ended up in that big commercial and everything. I was very leery of them. I thought, they're coming out to my house, they're going to end up wanting to sell me siding or a new roof or something. What a scam. But I said, I'll play along and up until the time they asked me for money. Well, they never did, and they ended up, that was the second best paid job I ever got, and as a per hour thing is by far the best. So sometimes if it seems too good to be true, it's real. But 99 times out of 100, it's a scam, guys. So just tread carefully and play along with it up to the point they ask you to meet them, at some remote location so they can rob you, or or they ask you for money. Otherwise, stick with them.
Yeah. And on the filmmaker side of things, if you want to work with an actor, meet them somewhere kind of public, like coffee shops or
neutral place. Yeah.
Yeah. And go from there,
Yeah.
It's
Watch out
kind of the
for
same rule as
casting
dating,
out.
really. Kind of the same rule as
Yeah,
dating. Yeah.
And there are just as many frauds in the film industry as there are in the dating game. One thing I've learned, there are a lot of people who will lie while they're telling you the truth. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you look at some of these resumes, and if you don't know the people, it looks like, wow, they hang out with Brad Pitt and stuff because they're. But once you get behind that, and I mean, everything they've said is true, but yeah, I've been in a movie with Brad Pitt. Yeah, they were an extra, but they've been in a movie with Brad Pitt. I mean,
probably.
I mean, I do it too. But there was this one gal I know, real sweet gal, and she was telling me about this guy, and oh yeah, he's this and he's that. I kind of checked him out, and I said, uh, this guy is telling you the truth, but let me tell you what makes up that truth. And she says, oh, really? I said, yeah. I mean, it's okay. I mean, everybody does. It's kind of like padding a resume. You don't lie on a resume. A lot of people enhance on a resume, but you better be careful with that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same with an acting resume. I mean, you better be able to document it some way. But it's called puffery. It's in sales. It's called puffing a little bit. And a lot of the film business is sales. You do it with concept. What are the concept trailers and stuff, or what do they call
them? Yeah, trailers.
Trailers, and the proof of concept films that you do to sell a film, and and we've got these people, we've got that people, and yeah, sometimes we've been in talks. That means we made a call, and they said, "Well, let me get back to you." That can be in talks. Right. Or we'll give it some consideration. Yeah, we're in talks with him. We're about to close the deal. So, and it's a lot of hype. Oh, what was that movie? Oh my gosh, it was Martin Short was the agent, and he says, "Sweetheart, I'll rip their throats out for you." And then the guy gets in trouble. He says, "Hey man, you're poisoned right now. Call me in 6 months." And he was acting like he was his best friend. And that's another thing about the movie business. I have actually heard stories of people with names you'd recognize who didn't learn they'd been dropped from the film until they read about it. I mean, that's heartless. That is heartless. I mean, another one. Oh, who was this? This guy wasn't Ang Lee. It was somebody like that. A guy he'd made a film that actually made it to the theaters. He's kind of a small time producer, but he was telling about a thing where this other bigger guy was saying, "Oh, you're like my son, yada, yada, yada." And they were in talks to do this, and then suddenly nothing. And, he finally goes out to where this guy's working. He said, "What's the deal?" He said, "Hey, man, I'm busy. I can't talk to you." And he got that about 3 times. The guy said, "Look, man," he said, "look, we're going in another direction. That's it." And, it's like they're best friends, and suddenly zilch. And again, it's much like dating when they decide to dump you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it does not just happen to people who are unknown. I don't want to say nobody's, people who are unknown. It happens really. People who've made a lot of money for a lot of studios and a lot of other people, and they'll just decide they're not right, or somebody who's higher up takes a dislike to them, and that's it. And I'm not saying it will happen, but if it does, don't take it personally, because there's a lot of narcissism in this business too.
Yes, there
And,
is.
and people could care less a lot of times about your feelings. Now, there are some very nice people. I've met them too. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But there are people who care less. They will drop you in a heartbeat. They will tell you it's great, it's great, it's great. And then the minute they find somebody they like a little bit better, they'll say, forget it. Or you won't hear from them.
Right.
I had some guy, another thing as an actor. This is something I'm still working on.
Okay.
If you're an actor, even if you have good ideas, before presenting those ideas if you're in a production meeting, they're asking for them, that's fine. But if you're on the set and you think of a cooler way to shoot something, don't make that recommendation. Don't do it, even if it would be the best shot in the world. You say to the director, usually on these, little independent shoots, the director is the writer, and you might have worked with him several times, but still say, hey, would you like to hear an idea? And they'll usually say yes, even if they don't want to. But that goes down a lot better than say, hey, why don't you do
No. Yeah.
Or if now, if you see somebody about to step on electrical cable and electrocute themselves, yes, speak up. Otherwise, get permission or go through channels. I'm telling you, I had a deal. I shot this one. I was being pretty well paid for it too. And I said something. It was in post-production, actually. He sent me a clip. And I said, hey, this the guy should be holding the gun in the other hand. And he writes me back and he says, Rick, please remember, actors act and directors direct. Okay. That impressed that upon me very, very strongly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, as a director, I do want to and do take into account everyone's inputs from actors to crew and everything. But the cautionary tale in what you just described is Christian Bale on the Terminator said, "Do not piss off
I didn't hear that.
your DP."
What happened? What happened? I didn't hear that.
Well, the DP, the director of photography, who's actually responsible for all the camera angles in the big budgets, he was doing his measurements and everything, make sure everything was all right, and Bale just went ballistic on the guy.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So what was the outcome of that?
The film still got made somehow, but
was Bale still in it though?
Yeah. Well, he's still in it, but still the cautionary tale: do not piss off your DP.
Oh no! Oh, don't piss off anybody.
Yeah.
Don't piss off anybody. Be nice to everybody, because I'm telling you, you never know. You should be nice. You should be nice because you should be nice. But what if some little production assistant, let's say you say something insensitive and hurt their feelings, and they just turn out to be the niece of the producer? Why? Oh, I've got a great story though. It was about this is on the other side of that. Oh God, who was it? Oh, I'm trying to think of the guy. He's really famous. He's older now. I think he might be dead by now. Oh yes, it was not Clint Eastwood, Clint Walker. Clint Walker was headed for an audition. Okay. Actually, for about his first film, it was Ben-Hur. He's in Ben-Hur. And there was a lady who'd had a flat tire, and he stopped and he changed the tire for her. And then he went on his way. He was like an hour late. And Now, somebody told me never apologize for anything. I've heard that from several people. Now, if I screw up, I'm going to apologize. But I've been told, if you're late, you're late. Don't apologize. I'm going to apologize. But that's just me. I probably my own throat, but I'm going to apologize. But anyway, he apologized. He said, I'm really sorry I'm late, but this lady had a flat tire. I couldn't just leave her. He says, I know that lady was my secretary. You've got the job. And that's apparently a true story. And that's how he got his first role. And he's like a big guard in Ben-Hur. And who was it? Who was the big producer? One of the Warner Brothers or something. Anyway, yeah, he said, yeah, that was it was my secretary. You don't need to audition. You have the part. So that's good. But he was being a nice guy. Apparently, Clint Walker was a very nice fellow. It was just like that. And but anyway, like I say, you never know who anybody is, but even if you did, you should still be nice.
Yeah, that's good life philosophy. Or to put it another way, Wheaton's Law: don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Wheaton. He's funny. Yeah. I love that self-deprecating role he has on
Big Bang Theory.
Oh, the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
He always comes on there like a broken down old, has been. I love it. I guess, I don't know, maybe he is. Well, LeVar Burton does the same thing, and Bob Newhart, do I still get the $100 as Professor Proton? I love it.
Right.
Oh, those guys, they've got to have a sense of humor to do that, I think. But,
and of course,
hey, you want to hear a really cool story about a star?
Yeah, let's hear it.
One of my best stories. I was on the set of a little movie called Last Will. I was an extra. And James Brolin was in it, Barbara Streisand's husband. And I only shot one day. And the day that I shot, James Brolin shows up in costume and makeup. And production assistant, I think, comes over and says something to him. There's just an exchange for about maybe 20 seconds. Brolin just kind of looks at him, shrugs, leaves the set. Half hour later, comes back in his jeans. Apparently, they had changed the schedule. He wasn't to shoot that day, and nobody told him. He was saying, this is James Brolin.
Yeah.
He's in costume, he must, these guys are in makeup for like a half hour. He got up early. Right. And instead of saying, who's the fool? I'll have their heads. He shrugs, comes back, and he just sat there all day and watched. He had nothing to do because he thought he was going to be shooting. Now, this is what I surmised, and I think I was right. I could be wrong. Maybe he just came and showed up in costume for no reason. But I'm pretty sure that nobody told. But see, it happens to everybody. This guy's a really big star, and nobody, probably somebody was supposed to tell him, of course, and forgot. Got caught up in something else. But instead of being a dick and raining down his wrath on his little $15 an hour production assistant, he just goes and comes back. It was so cool. That was a very democratic set. Usually they have the stars eating separately and everything. Hell, they went through the same chow line with us, man. Now, we didn't bother. I mean, you keep away from the stars. If they talk to you, that's fine. But generally, Tom Cruise doesn't even want you to look at him. But who was it? Steve Buscemi. He said hi to me one day. And who was it? The lady who used to be on Saturday Night Live. She was here. She was in that little movie, the name of the movie now. The Vedder brothers did it, where he's breaking people up. Anyway, not Valerie Burton. What was her name? She was a gymnast once. Now she's chubby. I can't remember. But she said, nice working with you. And I was just an extra. And as I walked off the set. So, some of them are really kind of nice. And like I say, if they talk to you, I wanted a picture with her so bad, but I can't do it. But anyway, on that last, we had Tatum O'Neal and Tom Berenger was in the film, but he wasn't there. I think he's cool. I wish he'd have been there that day. And but anyway, like I said, they just went through the challenge. They sat at a different table. The stars all sat together. But I mean, that's like high school, the cool
It is
kids.
high school, yeah. Yeah, everyone sticks to their own cliques, yeah.
But I mean, like I said, they went through, they had the same thing we had. Usually, at least in my experience, they get something different to eat, which it was, we were on this one film set, and one guy man, they get salmon, which I could care less about. To me, all salmon tastes like the canned salmon we used to eat when we were little kids. When, believe it or not, this shows how old I am. Salmon used to be cheap. It was. And then it caught on and now it's expensive. But I mean, heck, they gave us fried chicken and mashed potatoes and green beans. I mean, I was at hog
Not
heaven.
complaining about that.
They gave us good old Midwestern, really. And I loved it. If they'd have given me salmon, I'd have wanted the fried chicken. In fact, if I'd have been a star, I'd said, "Can I have the fried chicken?" But
there you go.
yeah, they usually eat separately. And like I say, don't bug them. Oh, this friend of mine, she was on set with George Clooney. George Clooney apparently is a super nice guy.
So I've heard.
And he was going around giving autographs to everybody. And my friend Jeannie says, "Well, you want my autograph?" She says, "Nah." He says, "I'm a big star. Everybody wants my autograph." Whatever. And he was doing it, just being kind of dramatic. And she said, "What am I going to do with your autograph?" And she was on set for several days and several scenes. Every time he saw her, he said, "You sure you don't want my autograph?" She says, "No, I don't want it." And he just laughed. And that's the whole story. But he was such a good sport about it. Like I said, he was giving autographs to everybody. And he was just kind of dramatic about everybody wants my autograph. Look who I am. And he just laughs. And there's several stories like that. But so I've got my story about what's his face. I just forgot his name. Not Tom Berenger, the other guy, Barbara Streisand's husband, being a swell guy. And
that's great.
And then James Brolin. Yeah. So anyway, I it's fun being on sets, even if you're an extra. You're not, and we're not extras anymore. We're background actors.
Atmosphere is the term.
Yeah, atmosphere, background actor. You're an extra, but that's still fun. You know what's funny in that one film where I was just there one day? I not only made it into the film, and that's something you know, especially as an extra, it's easy to get cut out. I made it into the trailer as an extra. So that was great. I got kind of lucky.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's awesome.
So what else is going on? What else are you working? Are you working on anything right now, Mike?
Well, aside from this podcast, no, not really.
Yeah.
I've been doing DoorDash to keep me busy and sane during this whole pandemic.
Yeah.
And
you're teaching chess too, still, right?
Yeah, I go back to teaching chess this summer.
Yeah.
And
that DoorDash is quite a dash. You really have to know the city, don't you?
You do, and it helps to have a GPS in your car. So
if you want to make any money, you better know the city.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd be driving all over the place trying to deliver a pizza or something. It'd be 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Good at that. Well, I thought I saw you in something. Man, my light just went out.
I did. Yeah.
Ooh, it's spooky. We could tell ghost stories.
I have an entire ghost stories. Oh man.
On a set or something. Didn't you have a picture of yourself on the internet on some set working as behind the camera doing something?
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of camera work and stuff. Some of it with PBS, some of it's
oh wow.
Yeah, I interned at KCPT.
Wow, okay. But I mean, lately, aren't you doing something behind the camera?
Lately,
recent.
The most recent thing
Most
recent thing I would have done behind the camera probably would have been League of Women Voters. work since I do a lot of video work for the league.
What was it?
League of Women Voters of Johnson County.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's good. Boy, League of Women Voters, now that ought to be, of course, it's a professional deal, so you probably don't want to tie, merge your social and your professional, but it seems like there'd be some pretty sharp women there.
Oh, yeah.
Who might be smart enough, sophisticated enough to appreciate you, Mike.
Yeah, and most of them tend to be older and married. So.
Oh, well, that's well, the older might be okay, but the married, you don't want to mess with that. That gets in trouble.
And one lady in particular, I thought she's kind of cute and everything. Turns out she's a lesbian. And
I had that happen once too.
Well, I didn't officially ask her out or anything, but it crossed my mind. But I didn't know she was gay. But shortly after that, she got elected to Congress. I'm talking about Sharice Davids here. So, yeah.
Okay, I don't even know who she is. I guess I should.
She is the current Congresswoman for the Kansas 3rd Congressional District.
Okay, well, see, I live in Missouri. That's why I don't know. Yeah. I use that as an excuse. There was a woman I met once who was she was pretty, but she was just so classically feminine and ladylike and smart and I mean she was chic. I guess that's what you can say. There are a lot of pretty women who are just knockouts and everything, but there are some who have that kind of quiet class, chic, and she just really appealed to me. About the 4th time I asked her out, and usually I don't ask out somebody that much. If they say no a couple times, that's it.
Yeah, that's
when
good.
I was dating.
Yeah.
But obviously I wasn't going to give up too easily because I really thought she was cool. And she said, well, to be honest, I'm spending a lot of time with a young woman I know. I thought, is she like a mentor? Mm-hmm. And she talked a little bit more. I said, well, she might be a mentor, but there's more to it than that. And I said, yeah. Okay. Well, sorry. That's okay. There's no way.
This is the messing with lesbians part of our program. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I really thought she was cool. Well, she still was cool. It's just that she didn't have the same kind of inclinations I did. Well, I guess she did have the same kind of inclinations I did, which is why we could have never dated.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, we would have probably both admired the young woman. But anyway, so I understand how that works, and that's the way it is sometimes.
That's the way it is. Yeah.
Well, wouldn't it be terrible if you would have married her and then found out? It has happened. Or some people kind of decide to discover themselves in the middle. Well, that Michael Learned from All in the Family, not Family Affair, the one with wasn't Michael Learned. It was that real pretty lady, Michael J. Fox. The show he was on, the woman who played the mom, real pretty. Mm-hmm. She came out, and I was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
You only recognize half the ones who are like that as like that because the other half are very feminine a lot of times.
Right.
They make couples. So same with gay male couples.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have some who are very effeminate and kind of bouncing around, and then you have the other guys you never suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other half of the couple.
Right.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
I've been surprised. Well, I had a suite mate, SUITE mate in college, and I noticed he was reading some odd stuff. I asked him about it. He said, "Oh, you're taking a sociology course, aren't you?" He said, "Yeah, that's it." Years later, somebody, I mentioned had no idea. One day I was working out, I was doing my push-ups and everything. I noticed him looking at me. I said, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'm just looking. I said, you want to get in shape? He said, oh yeah. I sat down and wrote him a whole workout routine. I had no idea. He's a music major, but I wasn't stereotyping, And years later, I mentioned that who I'd roomed with, and I said, oh, my suite mate was a music major. His name was so and so. Oh yeah, he was really gay. I said, what? And then it all made sense. I didn't have a clue. And plus I noticed he never dated. I thought he was just shy and feared rejection. So the poor guy must have been suffering. I feel bad because I was trying to, now look, man, rejection means nothing. I've been rejected 1 billion times. You just pick yourself up and go on to the next one. Don't be afraid. That next good looking woman you see, you ask her out. Little did I know. I was trying to help the guy and he didn't want help. He wanted to be left alone and do his thing. But so, you never know. You never know. I mean,
all right.
Boy, we've talked about a lot. Recipes.
We have. I was going to say that's about time to wrap it up because we've gone on quite a bit. But hey,
my golly, that was a heck of a.
It was a heck of an interview. Yeah.
Well, you can edit that down to the 5 worthwhile minutes.
Yeah. But the thing about this podcast, there's minimum editing needed.
Yeah. And
some have gone long, some have gone pretty short, but it's all good.
A lot of times I was looking at you, which means I'm looking away from the camera. So you'll see that in editing. Yeah. You're looking at the camera now, aren't you?
The camera's right above your head, yes.
Yeah. Now, do I look like I'm looking at you when you look at my... Okay, well, that's good then. Because I thought I had to look... See, now I'm looking right at the camera. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at you. But it doesn't look that much difference, huh?
Not much difference, though.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you for this opportunity. I don't get a chance to talk to somebody very much anymore. So thanks a lot. And hey, I hope to see you on a set sometime, Mike.
Absolutely. You are always welcome on my sets.
Glad to do it. I remember that first time he wasn't named Captain Trainer then, but the one
it's still Variation Trainer. Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
I think we'll close with this. I still remember you and Mike walking down the corridor there in Hague Hall, UMKC, and Mike, he wasn't really an actor. He was a security friend of mine.
Yeah.
I want an answer. What about 10 steps for the answer is no, and you're back inside, and if I was one of those freaky ass cops, I would love you. And the look on Mike's face.
They love big boys like you. That would have been great footage because that was totally extemporaneous. That was a fun one.
And I did try to work that into Tales, believe. In that prison. In that prison cell scene,
there's a scene in that first Promise Chronicles where I'm kidnapping a guy, and I'm not threatening him with prison sex or anything, but I'm kind of the same character. I said, "Hey, I got a present for you," and I put the hood over his face, and then I've got him in a wrist lock, and I'm marching him along. And he says something. I said, "Remember when I told you to shut up?" Oh, I give him a joke with the wrist lock. And I said, "Remember when I told you to shut up?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "That's still in effect." And I think you'd like that scene. It's very Trainer-esque, I guess.
Very, very, yeah.
Think of it. I really like those because I'm really so, laid back, and I like to play those guys. Well, anyway, hey, thanks a lot again. And
This podcast is Uncalled For is hosted produced and edited by Mike Chernevsky. Opening music is Fantasia by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Additional music includes Keep by the Kyoto Connection from their album No Headphones Required, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 unported license. Check them out at www.thekyotoconnection.com. And Ice Flow by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting platform. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/uncalledforpodcast, and check out our blog with show notes at uncalledfor.home.blog. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.
We are really concerned about the deaths of Miss Two Feathers and Miss Takahashi. I'm sure you're familiar with them. What could you tell me about that, just kind of informally?
Their deaths are of no concern to me or to Stone Corporation.
Well, now, you see, the information we've gathered suggests at least some type of a marginal relationship between their deaths and some of the activities of the Stone Corporation. And you know, the faster you chat about that with me, just a little bit, you know, just give me a little information, a little something we might be able to go on, the faster you'll go home.
You're wasting my time, Captain. More importantly, you're wasting the time of Bob.
Well, I don't really know who Bob is, but let me tell you.
Do not underestimate the power of Bob.
Oh, kiss my ass. I am known as a by-the-book straight arrow cop. I've worked here 30 years. And 99.9% of the time, that's an accurate description. Only a few times in my career have I ever not been really a role model for my younger officers.
Oh, Captain, did you bring me all the way here to tell me your service record, which Stone Corporation can easily access through the Interim Net?
Okay, pal. Look, here's the deal. This is one of the few bad days I've ever had. And that's kind of unfortunate for you. By the way, you know anything about antiques?
Again, antiques are of no concern to me, or the Stone Corporation, or more importantly, Bob.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about this antique. This has been my family for a long time. You probably don't even know what it is. It's called a phone book. Now, this thing essentially became obsolete in the year 2000, about 400 years ago. But believe it or not, even though it was obsolete, they kept delivering them for another 100 years. Now, most of the phone books were simply recycled. You know, they were turned into toilet paper, whatever. This one, though, has been kept in almost pristine condition by my family. I come from a whole line of cops, and do you know what? About 50 years it was repurposed. And we repurposed it as an interrogation tool. Would you like to see how it works?
Oh, Captain, I am very familiar with growing obsolete, as you and your detectives and your naturalizer friends will soon become. And yes, Bob will repurpose you as well.
Yeah, well, let me show you just how handy this is as an interrogation tool. You see, this is pretty handy. And the beauty of it is the trauma is dispersed. See, there's not even hardly a mark. Now, you want to see it again?
If you must, Captain. But Bob is watching, and he will not forget this.
Take a look at this, Bob. You see, you know what you're making me do? You're making me break my own code. I should never abuse a prisoner. You know, I hate this. Why don't we talk? It doesn't have to be like this. You're wearing me out, Koversko. Come on.
Normally, Captain.
Let's chat a little bit. You dumb fuck. I'm done here. You know what? You might not be able to have too much trouble handling this, but when those big boys get a hold of your little bald head and stick it up their ass, you're going to have a good time. Have a good evening. Fuck you.